Chiefs need to whoop up on the Saints, and it's got to go through this guy. And on the other side, it's time to cut loose the man with the arm length that is the key to attacking one particular player. Welcome in. This is RGR Football. Welcome back, everybody. We're brought to you by BetUS, where you can get 150% right now and up to $2,000 3 different times. Go check them out at BetUS. We appreciate them sponsoring us. This is a fun one because we get to dig into what we would do if we were in the room with Andy and Spags and Pat and everybody else. Always my favorite part of it. This is Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy. Welcome to RGR Football. Like, sub, hit the bell. This is the game plan video. We're going to hit you real quick. We're going to give you that game plan. We're going to let you get ready because it's Monday Night Football and it's coming down the pike, Dan. Job number 1, what do you got?
Hey, guys. Remember what it was like to not turn the football over? Yeah, I think the Chiefs and the entire offense, really, Patrick Mahomes included, would love to just not turn the football over because it's really hard to win football games in the NFL when all you do is throw picks every week or fumbles every other week, and it gets you behind the 8 ball the entire time. So they have to be able to protect the football. You guys look around the league today. Kick returns, kickoffs, blocked, return for touchdowns. All of these little tiny things, you have to be able to take care of the football. And like I said, I know it's a basic thing, but what have they not been doing? They have not been executing. They have not been doing the basic things on offense to start the year. So Patrick, look in the mirror, look around the NFL. Don't get caught with another one of those, he'll get it. Just don't do it. Take care of the football and relax. Make the right throws and everything will be okay. What do you got, Ryan?
Throwaways are good. I kind of dig that. Don't be Gardner Minshew, okay? That's hey, if you're going to be in the AFC West, don't be that guy, okay? That's going to work just fine. I completely agree with you. I think my guy Steele's going to get a couple of touches as well. Steele's got to clean that up too. With the shoulder with Hunt, I do think they're going to get a little balance there. For me, on the other side of the ball, job number 1 is very, very simple. You got a rookie left tackle that wasn't able to practice fully this week. So Luis Fuaga has some very, very key strengths to his game. He also does have some weaknesses. And one of the things that he relies on is his size and length. Now, he plays with good power. He's actually a very fluid athlete. I wouldn't say he's an elite athlete, but he's pretty fluid for what he has. But the Chiefs have something that I think is very unique in trying to counteract that. And that is in the form of Felix Anudike-Uzomah, because he has the arm length that can actually combat this dude length to length. And that is a big plus. Now, we've seen Felix come on a little bit of late. Doesn't mean that he's always ready to take the advantage, but against a rookie that isn't 100% to begin with, I expect that they're going to red him at him pretty hard. I hope that they'll use him out wide and they're going to bring somebody else inside, because that's the other way you have to attack Fuaga, is to give him 2 things to deal with. If we've seen the Chiefs try to blitz that B gap off of a widened out edge, that's going to work for them too. It all comes down to that classic matchup, because Derek Carr isn't going to run away from you. He'll move around the pocket as much as he ever has, honestly. But if you can get past the big man on the left, you're going to be in good shape.
Yeah, I think the big thing that you talked about was trying to get a Felix going a little bit. Like, he's got 2 productive, good games, best of his career, back to back. You want to keep that going. You want to be able to show him that we're going to keep pulling you out there and give you some more of that confidence. And like we talked about with the injury stuff on their offensive line, bonus key, guys. They're missing Cesar Ruiz, and I believe they're starting center already. So to go with the blitzing on the outside, hey, Nick Bolton, why don't you come on up to the middle of the line of scrimmage and make this center, who's probably going to be the 3rd string center, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, just make him have to make calls, make them have to be confused. Because again, like Ryan talked about, if there's going to be one thing that Derek Carr is not going to do, it's run away from you. If you want him to get into your tackles or your defensive ends, you can do that all different kinds of ways. So banged up offensive line, tack the rookie with Felix, and I think you guys are going to have a pretty successful night on the defensive side. What do you think about having a little bit more with the blitzing side, with specifically with some of these inexperienced guys at center and at left tackle?
I think it can pay off, especially if you're shooting A gaps, because the fastest way to get to Carr is obviously right through the A gap, and that's where that center's going to have to make decisions, right? You get paid to make those decisions, and if you don't do it all the time, you're not going to get paid that much. But here's the thing. Carr knows Spags. and he knows where to go hot. And that's the big thing. So if you're going to replacement blitz, you have to be on your toes, which means I expect they're going to go a little bit more 3 safety look, maybe a little less base. But if they do stay base, it's going to be up to Trank and Chanel to be there in those hook zones if you're sending Bolton up the middle. So that's going to be the key off of that.
You got to love it. Let's get to our second point here on the offensive side of the ball. What's another thing they haven't been able to do very much this season? The interior of the offensive line has actually been hurting Patrick Mahomes in pass protection. He's been forced to move off a spot. He's getting a little antsy, and it makes him not want to stay in there and throw a football down the field to someone who's been open an awful lot downfield. And Patrick even mentioned it in his press conferences this week, talking about how Xavier Worthy's open. He's got to get him the football. You can't do that if Patrick's moving off a spot. He can't get it down the field. Just protect Patrick Mahomes, guys. Offensive line, it's time to step up this week. Get back to it. They got going with the offensive line running the football last week. I think they can take that momentum, ride it into this week, get yourselves a little bit more running the football just a little bit to execute the play action pass. That's one other way you can help Patrick out. The big touchdown was off a play action pass. The big play to basically ice the game was off a play action pass to, Justin Watson in the middle of the field. There's a bunch of different things that they can do to help. So protect Patrick Mahomes, offensive line, get back in your groove this week.
I'm looking forward to that. If you want to get back in your groove, we have something that's going to help you out. You can check out our friends over at BetUS because they're giving you all the goods. And here's the line on the Chiefs Saints right now as we get after it. Minus 110 for the Saints, minus 240 on the money line for the Kansas City Chiefs. You can get in all that action over at BetUS, and you can get 150 back on up to $2,000 3 different times here from our YouTube promotion. The link is in our description, so make sure that you check that out. We very much appreciate you helping out the guys that help us, and that's always a lot of fun. Number 2 for me, and to wrap up our big 4 here, is you got to attack them where they're weak. And this time of the year, like just after the first quarter mark, you can start to take into account who's banged up and who's not. Everybody's starting to get banged up. But right now, if you're a linebacker in New Orleans, you are an endangered species. Willie Gay is not going to play in this game. And I'm a little sad to see it because I do want to see him play. They just got Demario Davis back. Looks like he's going to be good to go. Pete Werner's like question mark. He's listed as questionable. From what I understand, it might not even be that good. So this is where that comes in. You run. You do what you've been doing, and you rely on the run game to be a significant portion of the offense. It doesn't have to be grown. That 40-45% play call is just plenty. But you attack behind the linebacker group. You make guys play backwards. So we're talking about the mesh concepts, the low drags, 8 to 12 yards is where you're going to get Travis loose. It's where you're going to get Xavier loose. You're going to get a lot of good plays, I think, from the extra tight ends. Jody Fortman's going to be active here, so you might see some big bunch groups. I think they're still going to play as wide receivers more than tight ends. That's fine. And look for Juju. All that sets up the deep ball that we know that they want to go to, but that sweet spot now has come down. The leading tacklers on this team are their corners. So you want to attack where they're weakest in the middle against that linebacker level and then play off of it. That's what I would do, and I hope that they will follow through with it.
Can we get some dig routes, anybody? Anybody? Feels like the Chiefs run the least amount of dig routes in the NFL and just don't throw the football to them. But like Ryan said, attack them where they're weak. At the linebacker position, even if you have Pete Werner out there, guess what? Underneath, you can have a little bit of levels concept where you have a drag coming underneath. You hit him in the backside on a backside crosser or a drag route behind it. There's a bunch of different ways that you can attack the middle of the field without Travis Kelce, with Xavier Worthy underneath, and then Juju behind him. So just do what you guys do. Give a little bit of just some dig routes here and there, just starting attack the intermediate parts of the middle of this defense, and the offense should be just fine. And we know how Derek Carr plays against the Kansas City Chiefs. It's not usually the best. So let's just let him handle that part of it for you.
I'm completely with you. Okay, folks, it's magic time here. Dan's been on a roll lately, so let's take a second to center ourselves and listen to the wisdom that is about to come out of his mouth. What happens in this ballgame, Dan?
I mean, I have been not the best when predicting how many points the Chiefs are going to score because we have projected a lot of points for this Chiefs offense. But I will say, that I think what we've seen is the resurgence of the offense this week. There's been a ton of points scored. I do think that the Chiefs maybe not get to 30, but they actually do push that number back up to the 27 area. I think the Chiefs win this game 27-17, and it's a lot further away than it does get at the end.
I like your margin. I'm going to follow you there, but I actually think they do hit the magic 30 mark, because I think after what they did with Travis last week, they're going to be able to play off of that. This entire defense in New Orleans is going to be keying off of Travis Kelce. There's no other way around it. And there's too many dudes that can get loose in exactly the way we just mentioned to then take advantage of that. And I do think Tyrann Mathieu wants to prove a point.
Yeah.
That he's still the man. He's going to come down and you're going to get him on X, and X is going to get loose over the top. So I do think there will be explosives in this. I think they hit the 30 mark. I have them winning by 10 as well. They give up just a slightly more there. I have it 30-20 Chiefs. Get ready. Let us know what you think. Put them down in the comments here on YouTube. And if you're listening on audio, get over to the YouTube side. That's where it all starts. And you can see Dan's smiling face. You can block me out if you want. It's perfectly fine. So long story short, it's Monday Night Football. It's the first chance to be on Monday night this year. I think it's going to be great. We're going to be live post-game. Do not miss that. And then we'll break it down as we do all week long. Me, Dan, Gary, preview. Bam, we're on to the next game. This is the way the season rolls, Dan. I'm feeling pretty good about this. How about you?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. And I do think that having this game on Monday night, when the Chiefs got to see what happened around the NFL with tons of teams going down and lots of points being scored, that will help get them in the right headspace for this game, because you can't overlook teams in the NFL, regardless of how many injuries they have. You have to be in the moment. As they learned last week, it doesn't matter what injuries you have. Teams come to play their best football against this football team. Get locked in. Don't turn the football over, and they'll be just fine.
It's Monday Night Football. It's going to be